Hi guys, Jeb here with Conestoga Manure Spreaders. Today we have two spreaders right here. I have a C80 with a top beater. This also has the optional Raptor liner. It's just the way this one was made. For whatever reason, I ordered it that way. This spreader here, one that's actually sold, thank you to Marvin for letting us use it. We've got a fines pan on the back here. So you notice no top beater, just the regular beater setup. This is typically going for more of your like fine and composted or shaving style horse manure, those kind of applications. The manure that I have in here is what we call mushroom manure, or I mean it's almost a compost. You still have the smell of manure and it's definitely not broken down all the way. We're going to show why you would want a top beater, which you'll probably see that more in the pen pack application, like the ram-packed cattle manure where they're kind of like smushing it together and everything, and it's really tough and needs chewed up. On this one, for a horse or any kind of application like that, that's what it's going for. When you have that fine manure, it's straight out of the stall or the shavings. You want to make sure it doesn't just tumble out the back, which you'll probably get that effect more with this one. Both work in their natural like standard state. There's no problems with them. However, when you're looking for the options that really tune the spreader to your application, one set up this way, the other set up this way, and then we have different setups that go out for different applications.
As we get started here, you'll see that my spreader started a lot sooner than Kevin's. Mine's the one running with the top beater there. You can see it even clumping out the back with that fine material. It's just dropping instead of hitting the beaters so much. His took a little bit longer to get to the back just because his load was shifted towards the front a little bit more. Once it gets spreading though, you see that his starts fanning and sifting the material instead of just dropping it.
What do we have here? This spread, so this is a good spread. There's nothing wrong with this. I could have driven faster, which would have been thinner, would have evened it out a little bit. I was driving intentionally slow, so obviously you noticed that. And you noticed a little pile that's crumbled out the back of the spreader. So you can see there's room for the material to just slip out the back. This spread is a whole different story. So if you look at what we have here, it's like blended almost perfectly. It's super even. So if you got the fine and flowable material, that's probably when you want to use the fines pan. This is much more even and consistent. Or if you really just don't care how your fields look, you can always just go with the bare spreader and it just pukes the material out the back. That's just as fine as well. Two more things that I want to mention. This is extremely fine material. You can see this right here. Some people use what they call compost. So if it's broken down to this point, you can call it composted manure. It's not a finished compost that you'd want to apply for like turf or like a fine-tuned top dressing application. If you're spreading in like an agricultural setting or somewhere like this field that we're in, this is a very nice spread. It's no problem at all. It's nice and even for the application that we have. If you're actually looking to apply compost itself, in other words, if you're looking for like garden row spreading or turf spreading or anything along those lines where you really want the perfectly even coating, we actually own the company called Earth and Turf Products. If you don't know that, they're called top dressers, and they are specifically designed for compost spreading applications. So that's where you get that perfectly even coating as wide as you want precisely instead of variable rates, kind of like we have here. Okay, you'll notice it's a different day. We ran out of time the other day that I was recording, and we had snow and everything in the meantime, so here we are back to the spreaders. I have these spreaders loaded with pen pack manure. This is manure that's been packed, quite literally, into the pen that the heifers were in. So that's really hard manure. I want to show a couple of things specifically. One, notice how easy it is to heap this pile. I've got this one heaped all the way up to here. This is really when this top beater is going to come in handy. For one, it's going to hit it 2 times and shred it a little further. For two, as the pile comes back, notice this pile has more of a tendency, and you'll see this when we spread, possibly to sneak over the top beater. This one is going to go right into the top beater. I'm sorry, sneak over the bottom beater, whereas this one has the top mounted. This manure is unique because you can heap it. The other stuff we were working with, the mushroom manure, you can't really heap because it tends to kind of sift off. Imagine like sand, you can't really pile it in a good mountain. Whereas this, straight out of the loader bucket, and in fact, I actually tamped it down with the loader each time that I loaded both of the spreaders. So we're gonna jump on. We do have the spreaders in speed 1, which means that the chain is gonna move a little bit slower, so we're not gonna spread as fast. Doesn't necessarily affect the thickness that you wanna apply it. It's more of just how fast it feeds it into the beater. So it will affect the thickness if you drive the same speed. However, we're probably gonna drive a little bit slower and let the beaters chew it as it's shoved back into them. So I've got Kevin here. We're gonna jump on, spread a little bit of manure, and you can watch and see what happens. My spreader right here is leaving bigger pieces I should say. It's still doing a great job. There's nothing to complain about this spread. And obviously the spreader's not overworked. It's handling that pen pack manure, that tough stuff, no problem. This pile up here, you can see is much more even. That is definitely due to the fact that he's taking the top of the pile and the bottom of the pile at the same time. If you come in close here, that top beater is getting a hold of the top of the pile. So if you like to heap your spreader, and if you have manure that you can heap your spreader with, that top beater is going to be beneficial. Come over to this one, and you see it does a great job. A little bit more of a chunky spread to it, and you definitely got some stuff that's going to kind of just flop over the top instead of actually being shredded quite to the degree that the top beater would do. So both do an excellent job. Just depends on what you're doing and what you're looking for.
Thank you for watching the video. I hope it was helpful to describe the different options that we have for our compact lineup. If you have any questions based on your setup or the manure that you're working with, please let us know. We'd be happy to help get you into the spreader that's perfectly fit for you. Have a great day and happy spreading.